Is it actually possible to adopt the idea of slow living as a family with older kids? The world will tell you no. I remember a few years ago, I met somebody for the first time, and I was really excited to get to know this person. And it never happened because what I started to see was this person was never around. This person was constantly driving her children from this event to this event to this event. And then they had to host this thing and they had to be here and they had to be there. And they were constantly doing 1.5 million things. And that's great. That works for them. But I remember talking to my husband and saying, I'm really not excited for those years. I'm really not excited for the preteen and teen years because I see that and it just looks exhausting. And there's not a single part of me that longs for that. And I feel sad at thinking about that and all of those down times that I no longer get with my kids. My husband, being very matter of fact, just looked at me and said, we don't have to live like that. Simple. So simple. So then the question is, can you actually subscribe to slow living with children at home that are not little anymore? The world says no. I say yes. I think you can. And I think with our busyness, I think that's the time when we actually need it more than ever. Every time I look online at slow living or minimalism or intentional living or intentional parenting or anything like that, I usually see beaches. I usually see palm trees. I see beautiful, minimal aesthetic homes, and I see toddlers or preschoolers. I don't think I've come across anybody, to my knowledge, that actually does minimalism and slow living with older kids. And I do think there is a reason for it. I think part of it is that when kids are little, when kids are toddlers, when kids are preschoolers, or even in the early stages of elementary school, they need you to make decisions for them. They need structure. They need they need routine. They need rhythm. They need you to put in the boundaries for them. Well, when they get older, they no longer need you to put those boundaries in for them because they want to learn to do that themselves. They have things they like to do. They have sports. They know which sports they like. They have their own friends that they want to see and spend time with. They have hobbies. They have things they like to do. They have things they like to keep. They have mountains of paperworks or crafts or Legos or whatever it is that your child is into. They want to keep all of that. And as the mom, you can't just, I don't want to be a mom that just gets rid of all of that because I want my home to not just be my home. I also want it to be my children's home. And I want them to one day leave my house with this feeling of home, and they know they are loved. They know they are welcome in their home, and they can always come back at any point. And so I want them to grow up in a home where they can feel they are desired, they are welcome, they're loved. And so I can't just be going and getting rid of everything or telling them they can't participate in programs just because I say so, because it's clutter for me physically or in my schedule or emotionally or mentally, whatever. So I do believe that families with older kids desperately, desperately, desperately need slow living and minimalism. I do believe it works different. One of the biggest things for me that I would love for you to think about if you are struggling with how busy your life is to talk to your children. Your children are your DNA, and there is nobody more precious in someone's life than their parents, good or bad. Talk to your children. Explain to them that busyness is not always a good thing. Here's the thing. If we take the example of if there's a person who's working, they get up early, quick breakfast, off to work. They work all day, they take maybe 20 minutes for lunch, quick walk around the block, they get back to work, they work all day, they get home just before dinner, they, unwind a little bit, maybe with a TV show or reading a couple pages of a book, quick walk, they have dinner, quick dinner, and then they are back at finishing their work. They do that Monday through Friday. And then on the weekends, they have a colleague's birthday party, they have a wedding to go to, they have, all the things on Saturday. And then on Sunday, it's like, you know what? I have a project that's due, so I should just work on that a little bit more. Well, as an adult, we would say you're a workaholic. You don't have proper boundaries, you don't have proper limits. But for some reason, when that's a kid, we call it school, we call it activities, extracurricular activities, and we say that we are growing our children, we are teaching them, we are giving them every opportunity available to them. When really what we're doing is we're training them to be burned out people. We're not teaching them the natural boundaries, the natural limits to who we are as people, that we can't actually do all of it. We're not teaching them to prioritize one thing over another. We're not teaching them that every yes automatically is also the counteracting no. Those are the things that we get to teach when we subscribe to something like slow living. And no, it's not going to look like we're frolicking through meadows as a family, because let's face it, no 14-year-old is going to want to do that. They want to be busy, they want to be active, but you get to join them in that. And instead of spending the quality time with your kid always in the car, driving them from place to place to place, you can actually spend that time with them doing something together, picking a hobby together, finding something to do at home together. So, what is it that you need to cut out right now in order to make more space for downtime? In order to make more space for downtime, sorry. What is it that you need to pare back on? Are you doing too many sports? Are you trying to see too many people? Have an honest conversation with your kid and ask if they are sleeping properly. Are they actually getting that rest? And here's the thing, you don't need my permission. I'm going to give it anyways. You don't need to be so busy. You don't need to run yourself absolutely ragged in order to keep up with what the world says makes a good parent. It's okay for you to prioritize family time, to make sure that you have your family dinners together. If you haven't had a sit down family dinner in a while, that is the first place to start. If there is a sport or a music activity or anything that stops your family from having dinner together, then you either need to rechange and revamp your rhythm, or it might be time to just let that go for a season and just see what it can do to your family. Slow living with older kids or teenagers is going to look different for every family, because that's just the way it is. But it is possible. And I just want you to know that I am rooting for you, and that I really, really hope you don't let these last few years just fly away from you, because they will. The days are long, the years are short. And as my kids are getting older, I'm really feeling that. Stop. Breathe. Go spend some time with your kids.